Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Good morning, friends, and thank you for joining Encounter with the Broome County Council of Churches. I am Talia, your host, and today we are talking about a topic that is most often wanted, but more often overlooked. We're talking about personal growth and spiritual enlightenment. And today we have our guest, Elin Barton of White Knight Productions, and she's going to let us know a little bit more about how can we really talk about the topic of personal empowerment and spiritual growth, and really how can we break that down and start the steps in order to make those things happen in our lives. Good morning, Elin. How are you today?
Good morning, Talia. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Awesome. Well, can you introduce yourself to our audience and let us know a little bit more about your company and your project Ready, Set, Grit?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'm Elin Barton. I'm the CEO of White Knight Productions, and White Knight is a video production company. We do a lot of marketing videos, we do training and safety videos, and recently we've launched a subscription program for video production called Video Crisps. We're really excited about that. Okay. And that's my day job. I'm an entrepreneur and have been so for many, many years. But we're here to talk about Ready, Set, Grit.
Yes. And what really inspired you to start the Ready, Set, Grit program?
Yeah, Ready, Set, Grit is something that has become almost a movement, I would say. And it was started out of a time of a great deal of struggle, actually, with my business. Mm-hmm. And so it was a couple of years ago, and having a small business, you go through times of prosperity, and then there are other times that are more challenging and difficult. And a couple of years ago, it was one of those other times.
Okay.
And, we were just chasing clients that weren't working out. We were struggling with cash flow, struggling with payroll, all the things that a small business owner perhaps is terrified to, run up against. Absolutely. Problems with these things, right? Mm-hmm. And at the time when everything was coming to a head, I happened to have an accident and I shattered my right elbow. It was a really bad accident.
Wow.
And I'm right-handed. So suddenly I was left with this impediment where I physically was not able to do the things that I needed and wanted to be doing to bring my business back up. I was really in danger of losing the business. It was a scary time.
Right.
And so, I had this problem. And I was chasing these clients and this work that just wasn't happening. It wasn't coming through for me. And I have a philosophy as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I'm always looking for not the problem, but the solution. What is it that I can do? So I'm chasing work that isn't, contracts that aren't signing, things that aren't happening. Okay, but what can I do? Mm-hmm. And the answer that I came up with is, well, what I can do is I can start writing that book I've always wanted to write, that book that's been bubbling and brewing in me for so many years.
Absolutely.
And this book, in fact, is being published this year. I have a publisher out of the UK, and it's coming out this fall. It's called Ready, Set, Grit.
Right.
How to Turn Your Daydream into a Phenomenal Success. So the book was the beginning of this movement, and that's since evolved into an online course. I do in-person workshops, I do coaching, and this whole thing has become a way of empowering people and helping them to first realize what their big dream is and then to believe that they can achieve it. Mm-hmm. So it's all tied up in spirituality and spiritual growth, but it was born out of a time of a great deal of struggle.
Wow.
And, I do believe that there is a flow to the universe and things work out in hindsight perfectly.
Absolutely.
Right? But, at that time, I certainly didn't want to go through all that struggle. But now looking back, it's apparent that it happened for that very reason, so that this whole thing could get started.
Now, why do you believe that it's important for people to why it's important for people to want to look for or search after a personal empowerment or spiritual growth? Why is that important?
Well, see, the thing is, I think that all of us here walking on this earth, having the great opportunity and privilege to be here, I do think that we all have this purpose inside of us, this reason for being. And when you get in touch with that purpose, that's when you're able to give your gifts to the world, to not only walk here on earth with the best fulfillment and happiness and joy and ecstasy of being here, of having this privilege, but you're also able to share your gifts with the world. And I think that we as humans have an obligation. I think it's our duty to do that. So it's so important to get in touch with that part of yourself for so many reasons, self-fulfillment, and because the world needs you.
The world needs you. I think so many people overlook the need to feel purposeful, to even know that they have a purpose. So people say, well, I'm at work and that's my purpose. Or I'm at home, I'm a mom, that's my purpose. What do you believe? Why is your purpose in this realm so important, to even know your purpose or even how to attain it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that you're absolutely right. So many of us tend to put off finding out what our purpose is and living in alignment with that.
Right.
And we put it off for sometimes good reasons. I think especially women, we're so often we're putting the kids first, or the husband first, or the job first, or cleaning the house first, or all these things in front of our own fulfillment and our own growth, and and getting in touch with that thing that we are here to do. But the thing is, although that might seem like a noble endeavor, it's backwards. It's backwards. When we take the time to nurture our soul and nurture ourselves and grow that thing inside of us, that essence, then we have more to give to the world. We have more to give to our kids, to our husband, to whatever it is that we're building. Absolutely noble causes, but getting in touch with that thing is, again, I really think it's necessary.
Wow, amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Ready, Set, Grit. Can you break that down to us and kind of let us know what that program is about, and what are some of the levels to that program?
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Sure.
So the program is broken up into 3 parts: Ready, Set, and Grit. And the first part, Ready, and this is how the book is broken up. This is how some of the workshops and other things are broken up as well. And I think that I forgot to mention my podcast, which I can't believe I did that. But I have this weekly podcast that I want to tell your viewers just quickly about, because the guests on the podcast are all just great thinkers, and some of them are celebrities. I was going to say celebrities. Some of them are authors. I've had Seth Godin on. He's a really famous blogger. If you search the word Seth on Google, he comes up first.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
I've had Issa Bay. She's an internationally acclaimed speaker and a journey maker. Justin Fairman, a spiritual leader. So really great guests. I'd love your viewers to check out my podcast. And all of the topics of the podcast have to do with this Ready, Set, or Grit. So Ready is about preparing for manifesting your dream by first clearing out some of the limiting beliefs and some of the things that we tell ourselves, and we all do it.
Right.
The things that we tell ourselves, you can't do that. You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. You're 67 years old and you live in this little house. You can't possibly achieve your dream. Well, that's baloney. Any of us can achieve anything that we want. If we have that desire within us, that means, somebody, God, the universe, somebody put it there. You can achieve it, absolutely. You just need to start listening to it and start doing some of these steps. The first of which is getting rid of this mind garbage. So this Ready part is all about that. And that's really important. That's something. The first step to doing that is awareness.
Right.
becoming aware that you have that you're talking to yourself like that you're letting yourself have these limiting thoughts. And then when they come up, it's just clearing them out and replacing them with something more positive and more beneficial to growing your dreams. So that's step one. It's very important. Step two is the set part. And in set, we look at your relationship with time. Do you feel like you're a slave to time? Do you feel like you have all the time in the world and so you're not doing anything? Are you a procrastinator? What is it that is your pattern and how can we make that work for you? Right? We look at also your relationship with money and all the, maybe problems you have in your own thinking around money. Do you believe that you're worthy of having money, or are you one of these people that says money is the root of all evil, money doesn't grow on trees, money's hard to get? All of these things are also limiting beliefs. So we work on that in the set part. And we also look at your tribe. Your tribe is those people that you surround yourself with. Are they people that are going to lift you up and push you to go higher, or are they people that are, again, pulling you down and limiting you? So that's that part. And then grit is the third part of the program, and grit is where we really take action. And grit is where you get in tune with that part of yourself that has the sheer determination and will to go forth and achieve that dream, no matter what barriers or problems come up along the way. It's like keep going, and that's grit.
Awesome.
So
again, viewers, we are with Elin Barton of White Knight Productions, and White Knight Productions, and we just want to let everyone know that we're talking about Ready, Set, Grit, about spiritual growth and personal empowerment, that there are so many things that we can bottle ourselves up with life, but we just want to make sure that we take care of ourselves first, that we're looking out for the things that will not only bring us health, wealth, prosperity, but bring us to another level of purpose. And so we're just talking about that and getting more conversation and more education and information about how our viewers can take those steps. Now, how can people get more connected with your Ready, Set, Grit program and empowerment workshops, podcasts, and website and so forth?
Well, probably the best place is just to go to my website, which is elinbarton.com. And I spell my name differently, so I'll just spell it. It's ELINBARTON.com. And on there you can find links to the podcast and the course. The online course is called You've Got the Power, so there's a link to that. And the book is coming out in the fall, so there will be. You can sign up for my newsletter. All of that's kind of at that hub at elinbarton.com.
That is so amazing. We definitely check that out, guys. Check that out. Now, why it's real important to understand that most people want these goals, but what is maybe a few reasons why people actually neglect these goals?
Well, Talia, I think so often, like we said earlier, people feel like they have all the time in the world. And I have this woman I talked to a while ago. She got this new job, she just started, and she immediately hated it. It was a negative office atmosphere. It was just a really bad situation. But she said to me, she's like, oh, that's okay. I'll just work here for 30 years. I'll retire and then I'll be happy. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Everyone has personal choices, obviously. And, I understand a paycheck is great to have and all of that. But, we don't know how long we have on this earth. And so I think a lot of times people have this false security of having all the time in the world. That's one of the problems. And then they talk themselves out, they talk themselves out of seeing the possibilities. So there's this other woman that I worked with, and she had this dream of living in California half the year by the ocean, living in California. And she had pretty much talked herself out of the opportunity, of the possibility. She's a retiree, limited income, limited means, and she would just tell herself, oh, that is not me, not possible, I don't have $1 million, can never happen. And after working together, she started to see the possibilities. And so how does this happen to somebody that I've just described? Well, we discovered that when you start being open to opportunities, we discovered that actually she has this apartment that she rents, and the apartment happens to be near a hospital, happens to be near a university. We did some research and found out that if she sublet it out via Airbnb or some other similar service, she could actually make a pretty decent profit every month.
Wow.
Which would help fund part of her trip. And then upon further research, we learned that the part of California that she was looking to go to had several opportunities for her to actually live in with somebody as an elder care companion. And, you know, suddenly, this whole thing seemed possible.
Right.
And I think that many people, you know, they have this dream or desire, and they just are so good at telling themselves why they can't do it. You forget to see the possibilities. The possibilities are infinite, and we can all achieve anything. We desire everything we desire.
Yes. I think most people talk themselves out of it because they don't believe that they can. They don't believe that they have the ability to. But what God says is that we were born with the ability to do all these things. We were born with the ability and the gifts in order to fulfill our purpose and to look inside of ourselves and see the potential that's there. I mean, there's so many things that can distract you from life, but I promise you, viewers, I promise you, if you look inside yourself, there's so many potential things that you can unlock that is just waiting to burst on the scene. Somebody out there is waiting for you to find your purpose, to improve yourself, to find your spiritual growth. And if you just begin to work on those things, you can slowly see yourself becoming yourself, not only impacting yourself but others in the world, and just small little bits at a time. It doesn't have to be right away, all at once, but if you take small bits and parts and you pay attention to those things that are surrounding you, your friends, your family, people who are encouraging you, those little things will come up, you know. So I'm so excited about that. Now, you were talking about some other personal experience. What are some stories that you might have about participants who have participated in your workshop that garnered success?
Well, you know, there are so many stories. Let me think. You know, one that comes to mind is we were doing this workshop, and there was a woman in one of the classes who had this dream of opening a resort in Costa Rica. And this resort is going to be a vegan resort. It's going to be fantastic. She loves Costa Rica. And yet, there were a million reasons why this couldn't happen. You know, starting with she lives in Binghamton. You know, she doesn't have